And then I went and grabbed the fucking notebook and hopped on the YouTube and hopped on the whoop whoop. And then I went whoop whoop and yeah, and get it, and whoop 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 whoop, get it. So if you read the title of today's video, then you already know what we're gonna be discussing. What the fuck? Like, bruh. So if you read the title of this video, bro, this is frying me. So if you read the title of today's video, then you all let me get my fucking enthusiasm back, cause let me not. Sometimes you really gotta get into fucking mode. Like, I'm not playing. So if you read the title of today's video, then you already know what we are going to be discussing. If you're new here, yes, sometimes I start my videos off with really weird intros. Nothing too crazy, but hi, my name is Swaze, or Cali Swaze, or KK, or Cousin K. You feel me? However you feel. But I am just your, simple homegirl. Not so simple type shit. You know what I mean? Vibes. Okay. I have a lint on me. I had a sweater on today. You know what I mean? But no, let's really actually get into it. But if you read the title of today's video, then you know what we are going to be talking about. I do have my notebook out, so you already know it's getting real. But today we will be discussing the lesson that completely changed how I see failure. And we're not really going to get too much into, like, first of all, I feel like failure is one of those things that is kind of tethered to you. You get to decide what failure is to you and all of that stuff. And if you allow the world to do it for you, then it will. But it's definitely one of those things that you actually get to decide. And I feel like that's like the first thing that you should think of when it even comes to any situational thing surrounding failure, is that it's a decision to feel as though you failed. You know what I'm saying? To feel as though you failed. And that's a thing. Now, actually failing is a real thing. If there is a race and you lose, or you're boxing and they beat you the fuck up, or you get your bitch stole, you lost. You know what I'm saying? You lost. You lost. You lost. But did you fail? I feel like only you can answer that. I feel like only you can answer that. Did you fail, brother, sister? Home skillet biscuit. Did you? Exactly, because failure is tethered in a way to your thinking. You know what I'm saying? In the way that it affects you most, I feel like it is tethered to your thinking. You have to think that you failed in order to feel failure. Now, I think that may have been the biggest lesson that I've learned surrounding that whole entire thing. Now, the way I came about it, I feel as though it has been multiple scenarios in which I have felt, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that was on me, and ding ding. You know, I'm one of those people who is like, I will take accountability, you know what I'm saying? Which I feel as though is a great thing about me, because I'm always learning and growing. You know, I cannot say that for people who do not take accountability for their actions, because I don't know how that goes. How do you learn and grow if you don't feel like you ever did anything wrong? You know what I'm saying? And I guess that also in a sense pertains to like how failure works. Take some water up in this joint. But I think that also pertains, I guess I wear a belt too, by the way. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love these jeans. They're like the perfect baggy for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like a super baggy jean wearer, but I love a good, like, good vintage Levi baggy, like, bang. Like, I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, that kind of, in a sense, pertains to that. And I feel as though that's how you that's the way that I see it that makes me feel a lot better. So yeah, there's been multiple situations in which obviously I have felt like that wasn't, you know what I'm saying, the greatest thing. But it has taken me a while to actually realize that those things not working out for me, or those things not being in the plan, or those are not like that, but those things not just going the best isn't exactly failure. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of reasons. I'm not going to use relationships as an example, but you can imagine that relationships don't always go the way that you plan them. And sometimes it makes people feel as though they failed, especially if you aren't in the mindset of like putting the blame, or if you aren't in the mindset, like if your whole goal was to do something and you didn't get to do it, you probably feel a way. I have multiple situations like this. We had a family bread route business. We had like so many things, like even myself with my art, sometimes I feel as though like in my past I should have been focused here, and focused here. And that's really just how it's gone. You know what I'm saying? And I feel as though I was really in a rut about those things for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like for a while I was. Now I now I don't really feel like I'm in a rut. I feel as though I can see the good in why those things didn't work out the way they were supposed to, and also I can see why they didn't work out that way, just by looking back without completely judging myself, even though I am taking accountability. Like, yes, I do things wrong as a human being. We all do. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the more that we make our lives more about us, me, you personally, fixing what isn't right, you know what I'm saying, based off of the things that we feel, you know what I'm saying, about ourselves, and not so much about other people, but about ourselves, we would just generally feel better about our lives, because we would accept greater things and also give greater to the great things that we've accepted, meaning that if you've received something great, you will be able to match it with greatness and be able to recognize that it's greatness on greatness, versus whether your greatness is not being matched or you're not matching. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a real realization that has to be had. But you first have to be okay with the idea of it not being the way that you thought that it was going to go, and taking the failure out of it and just leaving the lesson, leaving the school. You know what I'm saying? You're still learning. So no, you're not going to do everything right on the first try, and it might take for you to move across the country or do something estranged, not like that, not like crack, or just like it might take for you to have to do something completely different than what you're used to, in order for you to be able to have the realizations of what was going on and the part that you played. And that's a thing. So as far as failure goes, there is no such thing as failure, as long as, for me anyway, and this is how I feel about it. But I do hope that what I'm saying does give you some perspective, even just makes you think, or you know what I'm saying, is there for you on a rainy day. But I do feel like failure doesn't exist unless you let it. So failure doesn't exist unless you let it. There will be things that don't go the way that you planned them, that does not mean that you failed. That means that there's something that you have to learn. And there will be things that do go great. You know what I'm saying? And that's great. You know what I'm saying? Because it should be expected. Life is great. But it's not, even when it feels like it's not always that way. I do feel like you have a choice in how you are taking these things. And I do know that, like, in the beginning, when you first get your heart broken, or when you lose that job, or when you move away from what you love, you may not feel the best, you may not feel the most, you know what I'm saying, but you will come out on top as long as you do not feel as though there's a failure. What is a failure? Failure would be, what is that? You know what I'm saying? So you have to define that. And just my simple advice would be to be honest with yourself. Understand what it means not to be judgmental, to be honest and to not be judgmental, to be honest and to not be judgmental. And I'm not talking about to your peers, I mean to yourself. Because this whole thing is about building a good relationship with yourself. So yeah, be honest and don't judge yourself. And what I'm saying is that even if you're taking accountability, that doesn't mean you have to be like, oh, you stupid bitch. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, it's really not that deep. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get it, twin. It's your fucking first life out here. Cut yourself some fucking slack, bro. You know what I'm saying? And there's people out here who will not. There's people out here who will not cut you slack. You know what I'm saying? And some of those people will be great for you, and some of those people will be fucking horrible for you. Take the time to decipher the difference. You know what I'm saying? And that's a thing. And there's also people who are just simply okay with growing with you. You know what I'm saying? And there's also people out there who are simply not fucking growing. So you have to kind of decipher. You're gonna have to decipher. And no, it may not look like what you thought. And shit. That's all I can say about that. You know what I mean? But yeah. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some space. I know I always say that. That's like my favorite saying of all time that I say. Give yourself some grace and give yourself some space. Okay? And that's a real thing. But this was a quick video, but I just wanted to kind of get that out there to you guys about the whole failure thing, because I love pumping you guys up. I want the community. Like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear from the community. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video helped you tremendously. And Swazia, I'll see you in the next one.